Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra. O Prophet, say to these people who are in your hands from among the captives, in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan. If Allah knows and if Allah finds that within your hearts there is some good, yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhiza minkum. He will give you better and more than what has been taken from you. Now please keep one point in mind. Some of the people of Quraysh who had come to fight against the Muslims at Badr, they were forced to do it because of the tribal system. They didn't want to go to war against the Muslims. There could be someone who had hidden in their hearts the Iman, the faith also. But because they had not declared it there, had they declared it, they would have had to make the migration, the hijrah. So because they were not so much, motivated by Iman, that they were ready to leave their homes and hearts and, the land of their ancestors, where the ancestors were lying buried. So that was not, the depth of conviction was not up to that level. So they remained at Makkah. When they remained at Makkah, they had to come under the tribal system. Now because the tribe is going to fight against somebody, some enemy, you have to go. So there were certain people, And according to some traditions, perhaps Hazrat Abbas, the uncle of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was also among them. So, and there could be others also. So, now if Allah knows that in your hearts there is something good, but because you have not up till now declared your Iman, you came to fight the Muslims along with the kuffar, so law will take its course. You will be treated at par with the unbeliever captives, and you will have to pay the ransom. But Allah will reward you. Allah will repay you in His own ways. He will compensate. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhiza minkum. Well, His prayers are very vast. He can compensate to you in many other forms. Wa yaghfir lakum, and He will forgive you. Wallahu ghafurur rahim, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Wa in yuridu khiyanataka, and if somebody now says that I am Muslim, I came only because I was forced to come here, so please forgive me and let me go scot-free. Wa in yuridu khiyanataka faqad khanu Allah min qabl. They have committed, treachery with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. If somebody is making treachery, he is treacherous in his behavior. فَأَمْكَنَ مِنْكُمْ, so Allah have given you power over them. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ, and verily He is all-knowing, all-wise. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Verily and certainly those who came to believe, وَهَاجَرُوا, and who migrated, وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, and they strived in the way of Allah to their utmost with their belongings and their lives. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا, and those who gave them refuge and helped them. Now the Muslim society up till that time, it was composed of two distinct parts at Medina, Muhajirin and the Ansar of Medina. And although Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had made them brothers, one from the Muhajirin, the other from Ansar, and they were declared as brothers. And they divided their homes, they divided their shops. Even, one Ansari, he took his Muhajir brother to his house. He had two wives. He said, you select which one you like, because, the commandments about hijab, they have not been revealed up till now. They were going to be revealed several years later in Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. So there was no wheeling and all these things, segregation, etc. It was a mixed society. So he took the brother to the home. I have two wives. You select. I will divorce her so that you can marry her. Because the Prophet has declared that you are my brother. And I can't, bear that you live without a wife, and I have 2 wives with me. So that was the bond of friendship. But still, these were the 2 distinctly separate sections of the society. And Quran is also mentioned separately. And here, the level is different. Because those people who had migrated, left their families and homes and everything behind, they were definitely at a very higher level regarding the depth of commitment, regarding their love for Allah. And actually, before the Battle of Badr, the 8 expeditions, which I shall explain inshallah next Friday evening when I go into details of Ghazwa Badr, the Prophet sent only the Muhajirin in 8 expeditions. Badr was the first expedition in which Ansar were also included. They were never asked to go out to fight in the way of Allah. All the 8 expeditions, 4 of them Saraya, in which the Prophet didn't go himself, only some groups were sent. And 4 of them Ghazawat, in which the Prophet also participated. But in all 8 of them, no Ansari from Medina was included. So that is why these words are coming for the Muhajirs here. Inna allazina amanu wa hajaru wa jahadu bi amwalihim wa anfusihim fi sabilillah. Up till now only they were striving and they were fighting for the cause of Allah, going out, to meet the enemy. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوْا وَنَصَرُوا. Now the second section is who gave them the refuge, who accommodated them in their homes and businesses, etc., etc. And they were the Ansar, they helped them. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Now they are friends to each other. They are protectors of each other. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَّمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَتِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And as for those who had Iman, who said the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, they became Muslim, but they didn't immigrate. They didn't come. We have read these things in much detail in Surah An-Nisa. This discussion, this subject has been discussed. But Surah An-Nisa was going to be revealed several years later after this surah. This, as I told you, was revealed in the 2nd year after Hijrah, just after the Battle of Badr. Surah An-Nisa, that was either in the 5th or the 6th year after Hijrah. So here is the first pronouncement regarding this. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَتِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Those of you who come to believe, who accept the faith, but they don't immigrate to Medina, you are not responsible for their protection in anything until they immigrate. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. But if they want and they ask for your help, it's incumbent upon you that you help them. But there is an exception. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُمْ مِيثَاقٌ. Except against the nation or tribe with whom you have a treaty. For example, there are some Muslims in some tribe. They are being persecuted. They call the Muslims to help. Now there are 2 conditions possible. If this tribe has no treaty with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Muhammad has not concluded any treaty against this tribe, with this tribe, then you can take an action helping the Muslims of that tribe. But if you have a treaty with that tribe, now you are barred from it. Now you can't help. Although they are Muslims, although they want your help, although they, are asking for your help. But because they have not immigrated, why have they stayed back? When they have stayed back, they have not immigrated, they lose the right that they must be protected. Okay, if the tribe has no treaty, actually, then the help can be given, but not if you have a treaty with them. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُمْ مِيثَاقٌ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And whatever you are doing, Allah is seeing it. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. As for those who have rejected the faith, who have suppressed the testimony of their souls and belied what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was conveying to them, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ, they are friends and protectors to each other. إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you don't do this, there will be much disturbance in the land. What does it mean? If you ignore the treaty and go to help the Muslims of that tribe, while you had the treaty with the tribe, it is going to disturb the things. The system has to be kept. If you have made a treaty, you can't help the Muslims over there. You have to do it. Now this ayah, last but one. But this completes the definition of a true mu'min. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And those who accepted the faith, who responded positively to the call of the Prophet ﷺ, and then they immigrated. They left their homes and hearts and the land of their ancestors. وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And they strived in the way of Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. And those who gave them refuge and they helped them. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. And they are the true mu'mins. لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. For them is the maghfirah, the pardoning, the forgiving, and a very honorable provision in the hereafter. Now you refer to the ayah number 2 and 3. Ayah number 2 and 3 of this surah. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِندَ رَبِّهِمْ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And this is to which I was referring as three dimensions of the personality of mu'min. One is the internal, esoteric element. Iman, khashiyah, fear of Allah, fear of standing before Him on the day of judgment. Amma man khafa maqama rabbihi wa nahan nafsa anil hawa. When Allah is remembered or mentioned, their hearts tremble. And when the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are recited unto them, this increases them in faith. Their level of yaqeen and their level of conviction increases. So that is one aspect. The second aspect and the third, they are outside, outward behavior. But one outward behavior is وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, establishing the prayer, and they are spending. But whatever we have provided them with, they are spending for the cause of Allah, for making the deen of Allah supreme, for spreading the message of Allah. This is one. And the other, obvious, external side of the third dimension, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. So these are the three dimensions of the personality of a mu'min. And if you want one ayah embracing all them, that is the ayah number 14 of Surah Al-Hujurat. In ayah number 13 in Surah Al-Hujurat, a distinction is made between Muslim and mu'min. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. These Bedouins are claiming that we have come to believe. Tell them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have not at all come to believe. Don't be mistaken. Only what you can say is that you have become Muslims. You have submitted. You have surrendered. And the true faith, true iman, لما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم, has not as yet entered your hearts. Now with this background, a comprehensive definition of a mu'min comes in the next ayah, ayah number 15 of Surah Al-Hujurat. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. This is the internal. They have the conviction, not only profession, not only saying with the tongue. Then they have no doubt. They believe in Allah and His Messenger, and they have no doubts about it. وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And the second, and they strive hard in the way of Allah with their belongings and lives. So a comprehensive, innamal mu'minuna allazina amanu billahi wa rasulihi summa lam yartabu wa jahadu bi amwalihim wa anfusihim fi sabilillah ulaika humus sadiqun. Only such people are true if they claim to be true believers, real believers. Here we find, one part of it in the very beginning, the other part of it at the end. But the beauty, there also in the beginning also, first ayah was something else. Yasaluna kanil alfal, a legal question. In the same way, the last ayah of this surah is also something relating to a legal point. There was also second or third ayah, and here also last but one. Now the last ayah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَهُمْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever now will believe after that. This was the beginning of the Muslim society at Medina, comprising of two parts. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. Now later on, who are now believing, later on, till the end of this world, this ayah will cover forever. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا. And now whosoever will come to believe after that, and if they also make hijrah, وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَكُمْ, and if they also strive hard for the cause of Allah with you, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْكُمْ. They will be a part and parcel of your own society. Here they will also become a part and parcel. They will be from you. But وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ. The blood relations will remain nearer to each other. This relation of Iman is not going to cover the law, Islamic law. Inheritance won't go to a brother whom the Prophet declared to be a brother. Of an Ansari, a Muhajir is a brother, but inheritance won't go to him. That is, the legal issue. Yeah, they are brothers, you are brothers, you must love each other more than the real brothers. But the law will take the precedence. And وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُكُمْ وَأَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. And this word kitab usually comes in Quran for the legal structure of Islam. Kutiba alaykum, kutiba alaykum. Kitaban, hatta yablugha al-kitabu ajalah. So all these words, in different places, kitab mostly refers to the legal teachings of Quran. As regards the legal structure, ulul arham ba'dhum awla bi ba'dhin. Now these relatives, they are closer to each other. These blood relations, the womb relation of the wombs of the mothers. You are brothers because you were born of the same mother. But you are brothers because you are also Muslim, he is also Muslim. You are a Muhajir and he is a Ansari. But this brothership is something else. That brothership is something else. Inna Allah bi kulli shay'in alim. Verily Allah knows everything. He is aware of everything. Here this surah ends. Now